What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Partially Cultured Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, and with me, as always, are my co hosts, Alan and Isaac. And today we are going to talk about the Metaverse. So, anybody that doesn't know what the Metaverse is, somebody want to explain in high level detail what we're talking about?
Yeah, the metaverse is essentially what they dubbed like the next iteration of the internet. We had the previous iterations, like that was the 90s and early 2000s. We've got the iteration now where we have a lot of handheld devices and immediate access to the web, pretty much 100% accessibility at this point. But the next iteration is a much more hands-on, much more tangible version, I guess, because you'll be brought in with either augmented reality or virtual reality into the internet itself, and everything will exist essentially 24/7 inside of this interface, this experience. Think of something kind of like the Matrix, where you're inside of a simulation and you're 100% there most of the time. Like, I mean, you're
Or
100% there, and in fact you're even able to touch and feel things in that environment, almost as if it's real, but you're virtually there, or you're experiencing it through augmented reality through a device like a handheld phone or glasses or something like that.
yeah, I mean
So
that's a
hope
long
that
shot.
makes sense.
That's like the long shot goal of it. But right now we're in the early stages of it where, maybe we won't have full touch and sensory, but maybe we're gonna have rudimentary, virtual reality headsets like the Oculus Quests, right? Something akin to those things. So yeah, that's yeah. I mean, it's essentially a virtual universe where we're gonna be interacting with humanity at large through this, you know.
Yep, I'd say you guys nailed it. So for anybody that doesn't know what the metaverse is, that's kind of a high level view of the metaverse. But why are we talking about it is the question. Why is this interesting? Is it just because we can have these things that we can touch and stuff in virtual reality, or is there more to it? Is there something devious about the metaverse?
Well,
So how do we feel about it?
yeah. How many of you guys tried? Have you guys tried virtual reality?
I have in its infancy, probably like the first or second iteration of where you put your phone inside the Oculus or whatever it was. That's the one I tried,
Yes.
and I did the little roller coaster ride.
Okay. So I remember the first time I tried it was actually at one of my friend's house, and he had the original Rift, right? And that was like, it's very basic. You had to sit down. There was, had a really bad screen door effect, so you couldn't. The fidelity was not there. It was
Right.
clearly early days, and it was something akin to like that, like roller coasters. It was like there was a lot of stuff going on. And I went to this place a few years ago where it was like a stadium, like a big kind of gymnasium, and they had backpacks and Vive VR headsets, and it was a lot more like immersive. You run around this place, and it was like room scale VR. And even then, it was cool, but it was like, this is still not
It ain't
exactly what
hitting.
I'm thinking. It ain't hitting. And
Mhm.
then I had the pleasure of getting myself a Quest 2 for Christmas. And I gotta say, I'm a believer. All right. I think it's the future. I legitimately do think it's there's one experience in particular that really sold it for me. There's this game called Richie's Plank Experience. And you get in an elevator and you go up the elevator, and then the elevator door opens, and there's a plank of wood hanging out of the elevator, and you're on the top of a skyscraper, and you are supposed to walk to the end of the plank and then jump off or whatever. And the the sense of vertigo that not just me, but everyone in the house, because we all took turns trying it, felt like the level of immersion, how it was able to actually literally make you feel Like you were really about to fall off this building, and people freaked out and screamed and fell to the floor. Several people. Like, yeah, it was like, okay. And this is and I watched a Joe Rogan episode where someone kind of used this term. I'm gonna use it. This is the equivalent of of Pong, right?
Right to what it's
For this
gonna
game.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the first run of the mill rudimentary experience. The fact that I felt that stuff and like everyone else in the house had like same kind of vibe and same experience. If they were able to get you that immersed, I was like, yep, 10, 15, maybe 20. It's a wrap.
But
Yep.
is that a good thing?
It's well, it depends on what you think is good. I don't think it's good that we're gonna be probably far removed. Like we're gonna have way less social interaction.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, we're already so
But
disconnected from.
Well, I mean,
physical, but what's social
that's contrary
interaction?
to what they're saying, which is we'll be socially interacting all the time. I
That's
mean,
the
essentially,
thing.
that's the whole
It's
point.
all about your perception on what social interaction is. Like it's hard for me to really sell it without you guys having like been in there. But like I kind of get what they mean. Like it's it fools you so much that I can actually see it being more social interaction for some folks. Like a lot of people, a lot of guys especially, single guys, they'll go home, they get off work, and then they kind of just play video games and they don't, maybe they get on some online games with some friends, but they don't have a lot of social interaction. When you're in this thing, it feels like you're in a world. Like it feels like you're in this thing. I could see it being something where you truly have real relationships with people and you are interacting with these people virtually, but it feels real.
It,
Like it's
Well, I mean,
trippy.
that's what they're saying it's going to be. Essentially, you log in with a device. Now, this could be anything from a very smart smartphone, or an Oculus, or some other device. But essentially, maybe it's even a jack that plugs into your brainstem or something in the future. I
Eventually,
don't
yeah,
know.
I could see that.
Yeah, but I mean, but you log into this, and then you're transported into this world. You interact with people. You have an avatar for yourself. So think about those people that want to be something, or somebody else. They'll be able to do that, like the same way they do now with their avatars currently. But they'll be existing in this universe as this person or thing the entire time. It's
I
going to be
think
assigned to you.
people will find more fulfillment in this virtual world than they do in
see, I'm
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 telling you, man, it's
skeptical,
just
and
I
it.
think that they'll think that. I think it'll be
it
fake,
is.
Well,
and I think
it's
it'll be
all.
fake
But
fulfillment.
what's fake? Like what's
What's
fake?
fake? What's fake is that if they were to log off this device, they're not the same person as they represent themselves
Yeah, but
as.
that's the
It's
thing.
like Facebook already.
No, but it's
People
like
go on Facebook and they're like, "Oh, I'm one person all the time." I'll send these pretty pictures and this and this, but in reality, they're like, their kids are starving. They don't feed them because they're feeding their plants on their
all right. So
Farmville app or whatever.
let's take this 100 years down the line, right? And you can load your consciousness into this thing, and there's no physical you anymore. Is it fake?
I'm not so worried about.
Well, is your conscience? Yeah, that word. Is it real or is it fake? At that point, is the question,
That's
I
what.
guess.
Yeah, like what? I mean, it blurs the line on what you consider real and what you consider fake when you think about what makes you you, right? And if your consciousness is what makes you you, then in that and all the sensory experiences that you are, feeling and your visual, your hearing, your all the stuff that you're touching, smelling, if that's what you experience and that's what makes you experience these things, if you experience all those same stimuli, why is it any different than actually
Well,
experiencing that stimuli?
so I don't think it'll be you once you're uploaded
No, no, I'm
in.
just using
But
that as a hyperbole to like kind of extrapolate it so that like so that you kind of separate it
Well,
from the veil,
I
because right
think
now
that
you guys are thinking of it as like, this is you, this is real, this stuff is real. But like, what makes it real is what you experience. Like, your experiences and what you feel are what make
well,
it real.
here's what's potentially fake about it is that it's just like now we have people that have certain beliefs about themselves, like I'm a man in a woman's body, or you know, I was born X and I should be Y, whatever, right? This is just gonna push that to an extreme, I think, or it's gonna enable that to an extreme when you can actually be any of those things in virtual reality. But in reality, once you disconnect, you're not that person or
I
thing
think
or whatever.
and this is gonna sound real crazy. I think all of the stuff that's happening right now is the water, the water slowly boiling to get us used to that being inevitable. So like, even the pandemic, right? Like, the infrastructure had to be built for everyone to just work remote, everyone be at home, right? The government had to make rules and changes to like let people do court virtually or do these things virtually. Like, everything can is either able to be done remotely now, or people are used to the concept of it being done remotely. So if it's not something you can do remotely yet, and it becomes something you can do remotely in the future, it won't be alien, right? Because people have gotten over that because of the pandemic, right? Yet all this money spent on infrastructure for making all these things possible. You have all these companies changing how their entire business works in the future. Then you have, like you said, you have all the conversation about what is sex, what makes me me, how do I identify, all that stuff, slippery slopes. Then you add in the metaverse into it, and now you 10 years from now can feel things, right? Can smell things, can taste things. Maybe they do jack something into your brain. I don't know what it is, but like, just the headset, like just the headset and some headphones, like, you feel like you're in there. It's really, really trippy in some of these experiences. And like, I can
Well, just
see it
imagine if
being
they
a
added that
thing.
Neuralink in there to it. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is the future, and it's going to be a thing. And everything that we're doing is building towards that. Like, everything's becoming more online, everything's becoming more virtual. People aren't it even makes sense on like an economic point of from an economic perspective, a crime perspective, environmental, people staying at home. You've seen it all over the news. The we had way less pollution during the pandemic because so many people stayed home. They're gonna use that to sell it. People, oh, there was way less crime because everyone was at home. They're going to use that to sell it. Oh, we don't have to use consume as many resources because instead of buying real crap to fill your empty homes that no one, that fill the void in your little hole in your heart, you buy all this virtual stuff that people just make virtually, so you don't have to cut down trees or make plastic because it's all in your head. It's in your virtual house. Like, I'm telling you,
That goes in line with a lot of the stuff that they've been pushing, over the years. Agenda 21, other stuff where you don't own things,
well,
especially
yeah,
in other countries. EU doesn't want you to own your own property,
NFTs
all
make
this
way
other
more
stuff, and you won't
sense.
have to if you have a little 10 by 10 room and you basically live in that thing. You jack in, and you're probably eating some kind of slush or something as your normal food, some kind of vegetable slurry, and you don't even think about food because it's like translating what it is in your
Yes,
brain
Here's
through the
yes.
Neuralink that
I'm
Elon
telling
Musk is
you, that's
making.
what I'm telling you. I'm so serious, dude.
It's
I
scary though if you
It
think
is
about that though.
scary, but it's like, bro, I could see people losing weight in this thing, right? They will be in this thing. They'll be eating this fake food, hitting all the same senses of overeating or whatever. Like, they're hanging out, they're talking, they're playing games, they're playing WoW in virtual reality, whatever the hell it is. They're eating fake food. They forget about the fact that I can see it being a thing where they forget to even get out of the thing. They don't want
Well,
to
I don't
get
know if
out
they'll
of the
be
thing.
healthier. They might be
Oh
skinnier,
no,
but I
no, I'm
don't think
saying
so
lose
healthier.
weight. I
this
didn't
is
say
my
they might be
issue, or
healthier.
one
Okay,
of my
okay,
issues.
okay.
You say that with this, some people are going to be able to have a more fulfilling social interaction or life. My problem with
Fulfilling
that
life in
statement
general, I think.
is the more they're on it and they're jacked into this metaverse, the more there's somebody else. And whenever they exit this, They're back to their crappy self, or if that's what they're feel about themselves. They got to have another hit. They got to get back in. They got to get back in. Now, what the problem with that is they get addicted to being in, so they never work on the actual crappy part of themselves outside of the metaverse to make them actually better.
Well, that's where you're not seeing what I'm seeing. You won't be you anymore outside the world.
Well,
You
that's
will
100
be
years
the
from now.
person
I'm talking
inside
about
you.
5 years from now.
You no, okay. 5 years from now, it's gonna start off that way, right? But once you can work in there and make money in there and meet and have relationships in there and talk to girls and do all kinds of other stuff in there, like once you can do all the things that you can pretty much do besides eat and poop and shower, once you can do all that other stuff in there, what is it that you can't, what do you need to be out there?
Sunshine,
That's
So
how
fresh
some of these people are
air,
gonna.
exercise. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. No, but that's no. I see what you're saying. I agree with you that it's not a good thing. Meant like it's not a good thing, but I can see it being a thing where you're like, I want sunshine. I put it in.
so
I'm gonna be in
everybody's just going to
Cuba. I'm
be
gonna be in Fiji.
everybody's
You
just
feel
going to
me?
be pale,
Boom. Pick my feet
fragile,
up.
vitamin deficient human beings, which makes perfect sense. It's easy to control a herd that's
As I'm
weak.
telling you right now, yes. And you like the economy will go through the roof. People don't even have to make like you can just be a virtual creator. Like you'll be a virtual artist. Like people will make 3D avatars and be like custom avatar makers or custom music makers for when you enter the room, everyone hears
well,
your theme song. Like
what
it's
about
gonna
the
be a thing.
guys that have no artistic talent?
You
You know,
buy
I
it.
mean, what if,
It's
You buy that stuff and
what
you
I
it's
know,
going to
but I mean, what
be.
do they
your
do? What do
job
they
will
do
It's
be
for a
going to
something
be
job?
our
else.
society
It will
now
be you'll
Okay,
in metaverse.
yeah, in the verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
so you're
that
just gonna
guy
have a bunch
that
of
guy
bums
can't
laying
draw,
around
so
in
he can't
there
make
Yes.
any
because
People
that's all
NFTs,
we got now.
NFTs.
or this guy you'll
NFTs.
log in and you'll walk into the virtual office and you'll literally go to the Dell headquarters or whatever and walk in and go to your cubicle and you'll sit down and you'll work away at the computer doing your virtual blah 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 crap, and then and that will be work. Like be doing work in there, right?
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's
what
going to be
about
the
the people that
same. It's
don't
just
have
going to
jobs
be
now? Like when they
society
get in there,
in the metaverse.
because you know the government's going to give these away for free because it's going to be like the next internet, right? So they have to give you. It's going to be one of those things where
We're
they have to pass it. They're like, oh,
we're
we have to
building
pass a
on
law where at
we're
least
building
everybody can
idiocracy
get into
right
this
now. We're
virtual
building on
reality
the
world.
everyone
episode
can
we
get.
had a couple weeks ago. People just sitting there,
I,
I'm telling
I,
you,
just zombies.
I believe so. I mean,
I'm not saying it's great,
I'm
but
saying
I'm believing it's gonna
there are
happen.
good things
I'm s-
about it.
I'm be- it's gonna
There are
happen.
good things about it,
It might take a
like
while,
that TikTok I sent you
but that's
guys
where it's heading.
yesterday with the guy doing like the graffiti in the
That's
virtual
dope.
reality.
That's
he was doing
tilt
he was doing the
brush.
spray can artistry, and that looked really nice. And I was
Precision.
the fact that he was able to do that with such
Yeah,
precision and
so I
like
mean,
yeah,
I can definitely
it was
see
crazy. It
I
was
think
nuts.
promising things for it,
there's this.
but I just whenever there's something promising, there's always something devious underneath.
I think the
Well, see,
devious
here's the
is
deal.
just getting people off the street and getting people staying at home.
Yeah,
Like bro, like
But
who's gonna make
who's
all the
creating the
money from
metaverse?
this?
It's not
well,
just one. It's going to be the
all
big
the technology
companies that
companies.
all the technology companies that can make the universe or make your access to the universe. This
Well,
metaverse that we're talking about.
yeah. Well, the thing is, they will be the big ones, right? And then you'll have people that essentially do what they do now, like the App Store, right? They'll make something that they sell on those people's stores. Those people get a cut. Like let's say the Apple version of the VR, they'll get a 30% cut on Metaverse. On the meta version of whatever their universe is, they'll get a cut. Whenever you sell an avatar for $10, that you created and you're selling to people, they'll make X amount. Maybe you'll make an avatar that's like for for wide scale sales, and everyone can have it,
See,
or you'll have a custom one that costs more or whatever.
see, they're going to sell it as this kind of like this socialist utopia type thing, but in actuality, it's probably just going to be an extension
Of course.
of
I mean, they did
the
this
capitalism that
15
we
years
have
ago with what
in
was
our
it called?
current
Oh,
environment.
1,000%.
Second Life. Y'all remember that?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's the
but
people that have like that take a risk and are creative that are going to make all the money and all the stuff in this, or the
well,
people that take advantage of those things. That's what I'm saying. So,
also I think people that are just like content creators, like like
well,
like
that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Artists in that fashion, right? People that
yeah,
are, but everybody else is just going to be a
personalities.
consumer, and the consumers.
If
I
you're
don't know what they're going to do in order to make any actual
No, like
money.
esports people. Like imagine all the guys that play games now. They're like they will be like they'll I'm John Wick, right? And like they're like you know what I mean? Like and they're popular and they get crazy
So
popular.
it's just a
And
bunch of
here's an
Twitch
issue.
streamers in there,
yes,
basically.
Twitch streamers, but not only that, like cooking shows, everything,
There
like
could be a partially
everything you can
cultured
think of
podcast in the
will be in this
metaverse,
thing.
and I could be like, I could be John
Yes.
Wick.
Yeah,
I
And
can
they
be
can
John
be
Wick.
with us in the room, talking with
they'll
us.
be in the
Here's
same
another
room with us.
issue.
They'll be like, "Get the hell off
Yes.
my computer!" Okay, thanks.
We should probably do an episode like
I wonder
that.
if we
You guys
could.
gotta
We
give me
have
your
to
heads
figure
up.
something out.
It's buy-in, baby.
$8,000 one.
I want to get that expensive one that you were showing us the other day.
Well,
What was that called?
I'm whole. Yeah, that thing looks crazy. I just got the Quest 2, and it's fully wireless. It was like really trippy because like all the other ones I've ever used have all these cables and crap and wire, and it was like nope, just fully wireless, walking around the room, and it just worked. It was
Something's going
super
on.
trippy.
Something's going on with my camera here.
What's going on your camera, Aaron?
Is it glitching for you guys?
Yeah, it looked glitchy.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on here.
It was a couple times. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're back now though. So.
yeah, you look good. But
Oh, there he goes again.
highly recommend. Highly
So
recommend.
I mean, I'm kind of. I know it's going to happen. I don't know that it'll happen the exact same way because here's the deal. We'll have a finite amount of resources as far as getting the materials needed to make these, these devices that get us into this internet. Like the internet, the infrastructure will exist. Either it's Facebook, Microsoft, somebody's going to make this environment. NVIDIA, AMD, somebody's going to make it. But is everybody going to be able to get into it? I don't know. Will it be subsidized and be one of those things like the government
Inevitably,
basically
it will be. It's like how they treated
introduces
cell
to you and
phones.
says, hey, you pretty much have to do this thing? Because I think that a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is going to happen. People are going to go into this metaverse in order to virtually work. I don't know if they're going to do the same kind of things that they do now, but some of that stuff is going to have to exist in that environment as well. There's going to be things
That's
that
what I
I'm
was going to
curious
say.
about.
What about
What are the
privacy?
laws going to be inside the metaverse? Can you imagine going in there?
Well, that's the crazy.
Well, everything's
Privacy
going to be
barely exists now.
privacy is going to probably exist on a blockchain environment, so it's
I
going to
think they'll
probably be
have.
more secure in a way because you're going to have encryption and such.
Well, I'm
But
not
people
talking
are
about. I'm
stupid,
not worried about.
and they're going to find a way
I'm
to
not worried
mess up
about it
their
being
own
I
privacy.
think
encrypted.
you'll
I'm
have
worried about
hubs. I think
people
you'll
that
have.
own it. I mean,
Well, the people that own it are gonna know everything they know about you already. But the thing is that
is my
It's
camera?
going to
well,
be like
well,
the
let me
Matrix. They'll be able to read the little
yeah.
Where
lines
is,
coming
I
down.
gotta,
They'll know
I gotta
exactly
fix
what's going
this
on.
somehow. Okay, now it's coming back
Oh,
online.
there you
All right.
go.
Okay,
Get back
your
in.
video's back.
All right.
It rearranges you. Now you're on the other side of the screen for me.
Yeah, me too. Put on that. Can I hear you now though? No voice.
I'm talking to the engineers. We're making sure all
Oh,
the things are worked
okay.
out here.
It is not glitching, so that's good.
All right, we're good. We're back. We're back.
And we're back.
All
And we're
right.
back.
It's good to have engineers, video engineers on site.
That's very good. It's always
It's
useful.
true. It's
See,
true.
in the metaverse, I'm going to be screwed because
Or
I
will
don't
you?
have.
You'll have a guy that virtually can get in there and
There's
like,
a guy for that.
Okay, so anybody listening, make sure you start getting into this VR and metaverse technical support gig, because then
Yeah,
that's what everybody's going to rely on, is somebody that knows how to fix that stuff in the future for sure.
yeah.
uh, I'm telling you right now, I'm when my daughter loves drawing and stuff, and I remember I told you guys like a while back. I was like, oh, I'm trying to get her to do like digital art, to like do 3D printing and modeling and all that kind of stuff. This like experiencing this thing, I was like, yep, I'm gonna try to push that more because this is gonna be a thing. Like I'm sure of it. Like there's no way it's not gonna be a thing. You know what the number one best selling uh like system was this Christmas?
What kind of,
Quest
I
2.
mean, like video game system? Oh,
Yeah, Quest 2 sold more than all the other guys.
well,
It's
yeah,
kind
that's
of,
easy to do. That's easy to do because there is no Xbox and PlayStation available.
Yeah,
well, it don't
I don't
matter.
even
They
know if there was
sold
any
a lot of
Nintendos
them.
around. But
And the
Now the
metaverse
question
content,
is, the person that's running the Oculus company and the metaverse and all this, was that by design to make the Xboxes and PlayStations
I'm
unavailable?
telling you, it's kind of a weird coincidence how all this stuff
Kind
is
of a
going on.
coincidence.
Is it though? Is it a coincidence? So hear me out. We have a pandemic, global pandemic that happens, makes everyone have to stay home, get used to the idea of it. Then you have everyone changing the infrastructure around, everyone getting used to. I'm telling you, it's kind of weird how everything kind of lined up perfectly for this thing to make sense.
Hmm.
all the companies to make the chips are in China. They can't make cars or video game systems, graphics cards, anything like that. Everything that the metaverse will eventually rely on is all made in China. So
Then Facebook's getting slapped around in the media by the politics and the government constantly, as them freaking out about maybe getting shut down or split up, right? Because of all the controversy over the elections and the and
Let's
the
talk about
manipulating
that.
people.
Let's talk about Mr. Zuck. Are we okay with him being the head of the ship of the metaverse?
Well, that's my thing. I don't think that that's kind of going to work. I think it's going to be like the internet, where you have hubs, you have universes. So the metaverse is going to be like a multiverse,
He's
where
just the
you can
first one to
join.
jump on the train and be like, "Hey, we're going to do this."
Because he's smart, right? Like if you think about it, he just coined the phrase that everyone now calls this thing, and then he renamed his company to be the
Well,
same
he
name of the
did.
thing that
He
everyone
didn't.
calls this thing.
Some intern at his company that will get no credit for
Well,
it did
yeah,
it.
yeah, but that's what's gonna, right? Like, and if you have to think, this guy is worth, as much as I don't like the guy, as much as I don't like the guy because I
It's
feel
kind
like
of weird.
he has questionable morals and he's kind of weird as far as how he shows himself or depicts himself. But like
Human
he's
clothes.
he's clearly an intelligent guy, right? He did make a lot of money. He's a smart guy. He has pretty much the entire world's social media under his thumb. He slowly bought all these different companies that control the majority of the social media landscape, right? And it's like the fact that he is just suddenly saying, "Hey, I know that I made my entire fortune, billions of dollars doing this one thing. I'm going to throw that out the window, pivot my entire company's primary focus to be this metaverse thing, and throw billions of dollars at it," means that he sees something, or he has seen something,
Hmm.
or
I don't
experienced
think he's throwing
something.
everything away.
Well, I don't
I
think he's
think
throwing it
he's
away.
just
No,
going to
it's
expound on
gonna
what he has
it's gonna become part
and
of it.
Well,
direct it
yeah,
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's got some information from the lizard overlords about what to do next. I'm sure.
Well, I think it's more like he realizes that he needs to diversify, change the entire perception of what his company's about, and then all that social media stuff plays into this universe, right? Because if you want it to be a social place and you have all the social media apps already, you already own all of those places where people congregate, then you just make a virtual layer on top of it, and now all of a sudden you have that done, right? Like you have the virtual universe, but more connected than other folks, right? Like if Apple jumps in, Apple's gonna have to build all that stuff out, whereas he already kind of has that aspect of it working. Then he he already bought Oculus. He probably has a bunch of R&D that's going on. He's probably experienced some headset that costs 30,000, 50,000, $100,000, and he already has like super light years ahead, exposure
You've
to
got the
what.
portal.
Yeah, like he probably has all that stuff that he's already experienced, and he's like, yep, yep, this is the thing. This is gonna be a thing, and like that's why he's throwing his money at it. So
Yeah, I'm just.
something. I'm telling you, and everything's slowly looking like it's making sense. I highly recommend buying one. It's
I
definitely very cool to
I
gadget.
think it's probably more likely to be what you said, where it's like mini metaverses or different versions of the metaverse, kind of intermixed, intermingled, or whatever. But
Yeah.
it could potentially be that someone like Unreal or Unity actually creates the underlying universe, right? An actual graphical representation, and then everybody brings their
Drags
Yeah,
applications
into
that
it.
into
Unreal
it.
5 engine that you sent me the link for,
That
that
the Matrix thing,
that looks
yeah, that thing was crazy.
pretty impressive. Um,
Yep.
so
Imagine that level of visual fidelity in a virtual world, right? Like right now, the computers that we would need to be able to run that stuff in the level of resolution to trick our brain, like it's not there yet, right? But like 10, 15, 20, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be very
Well, I don't know. I
trippy.
mean, I you could probably get fooled with that level of detail that was in that, and that's running on a PS5 and Xbox Series X.
No, no, but I'm saying like you need to for the headsets, you need like 8K
Oh
or
yeah,
16K per eye or some nonsense, and you need to have like 120
yeah.
hertz
Once
of
they have that
refresh.
technology in a phone or
Yeah,
in a eyeglasses, yeah, something
yeah.
like that. Because it's not going to be goggles in the future. It's going to be like an eyeglass, like something as thin as this,
I don't know. I think
laser laser imprinted, right?
how does it
we'll
make your
see
eyes
or
feel,
something.
Alan? How long did you keep it on?
I had it on for as much as I wanted to, and that's without my glasses. I had my glasses off, and they sell. You can buy on Frames Direct for $80 your prescription lenses inserts. So I'm going to buy those to put in the headset so that I have my glasses built into the headset, and you just pop them off when other people want to use it. But like looked perfect. It has adjustable PD, so you can adjust it for like the little
You
kids'
didn't
heads
get
versus
like
my
eye
head. You
strain
know,
or like the twitching eyes or anything?
nope. And I've
How
had
long
that
did
with
you
the
have them
old
on for at a
headsets.
period of time?
I think the longest period I had it on for was like an hour and a half, maybe two
Hmm.
hours, like one
It
one
didn't get
one
real hot
stretch.
either.
And it got hot, but I got like this accessory facial interface, which is what they call it.
Fancy
So I
pants.
replaced the one that came with it. Yeah, so it's essentially just like the foam piece and the silicone piece that goes around the face. I got like a different one that was supposed to be more comfortable on Amazon's like Kiwi. It's made by like
You
Kiwi
got
Co.
the
or something like
Quest
that.
2, you said?
And yeah, Quest 2. It's cheap. It's like 300 bucks. Now, that's not bad for a thing, you know. And I got the
I mean, weren't they pretty expensive in the past? I mean,
yeah,
like 1,300, something like
yeah,
that. I mean, they were probably more expensive than that even like
yeah.
5 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like for 300 bucks, you get the 128 gig, which is more than enough space. Then I got like spend 100 bucks on like a battery pack. So that's like to double the battery life. So it straps on the back and it replaces the normal battery strap. I mean regular strap. And got like I got like all the accessories, man. It was probably like less than what you would have spent for just
I
buying
just
the
wasn't
regular
real.
system.
I just wasn't real
Bunch of
impressed with
games.
the games I saw for them. They look kind of
Well, that's the
janky.
thing is like the games are, like I said, they're like Pong, right? It's not like you can't go into this thing thinking you're gonna be getting AAA PS5 level type games because you're
Right.
not. That's not what you're getting. You're gonna be getting like stuff that's the fidelity of like
I just don't know
maybe
if
a
I want to
Game
pay
Cube
$300 or $400
or something.
to
You
walk
know
a
what I'm saying?
plank off a building.
It's not just that though. Like they have a bunch of other stuff, right? Like they have Beat Saber. They have a really good like shooting survival horror game. It's The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Really, really good. They have Until You Fall, which is like a crazy like battle game. You're nonstop. There's a lot of good games, man. It's like a lot of good games as long as you get over the fact that graphically it's not gonna look like how you would expect
Right.
AAA games to look because it's not there yet. But the thing is, the immersion level is freaking nuts. Like that to
Well,
me matters way more now. Now I'm like, whoa, like why am I sitting in a chair like with a controller when I could be in the thing like actually boxing? Like there's this game called Thrill of the Fight, and you're in a ring with a dude literally boxing. Like you're running back and forth in the room in real, like you're actually running around punching. You have to duck, you got to dodge, you got to put your guard up. Like
Is
you're
it
actually
janky though?
boxing with
Like,
this
because if
dude.
you put your guard up like this normally, you just do it with your hands. But in the, are you seeing it go like?
No, like
But they're
virtual
not like
hands are up in front of you.
janky, like moving and
Gloves. It's not how you. It's
like
not as
Wii
bad as it was.
Fitness or
No,
yeah.
no, it's
Like
not
when I
nearly.
put my guard up
Wii
like
There's
Sports.
this,
instances where
my hands don't move.
there's instances. No, no, there's instances where it's a little bit wonky, but for the most part, it's very good. And you can actually set the tracking refresh rate to 60 hertz, and it makes it a lot smoother, but it consumes more battery life. But
But we need to make an important distinction, though, that I mean, the metaverse is not just a
Right.
gaming,
no,
environment or a gaming
no,
thing.
that
This
thing is
is
like
we're talking about an extension of the internet, a 3D representation of the internet, essentially,
that's what
where
the
you go
metaverse
in
is going
there.
to be. Yeah,
Yeah, you're talking to people, you're
Yeah, you're playing
exchanging
board
goods and
games in the
services with
same
each other,
room,
you're
and you're.
socializing, you are playing games, and
yep.
that will be a huge component
They
of
have
I
it
it.
mean,
set
I
up for
could see, I
Japan
could see
VR
the. I
actually.
mean,
Good.
the uses for it are unlimited, right? I mean, you could do a magic show and have all
It's
your,
going to be
have
nuts, I
for,
think.
a magician for your kid's birthday, and you know,
Concerts, virtual
well,
NBA tickets. You want to go watch an NBA game, you just drop in. You have the best seats in the house. Everyone has the best seat in the house. Why be in the nosebleeds? You want to go see a
Oh,
concert?
they'll
Boom.
find a way to
Like
make money off of that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think there
working.
will be a lot more stuff like that that you can be virtually from everywhere.
Yeah.
do I get to
Visit
I'm
sit
and
telling you,
next?
such.
it's gonna
Do I
be a
get to
thing.
sit next to
Like
Kevin
there's no
Hart
way about it.
and give Drake crap and razz the players?
Yeah, maybe.
Probably could.
But
Probably pay more. They
there
probably
are certain multiverse, quote unquote, multiverse environments right now where, like Snoop Dogg bought a house, and to sit and to buy a property next to his house in this virtual land, you have to pay like a couple
What
million
is that?
crypto of some sort, right, in order to be next to him.
that's what it finally made NFTs click to me. It
Yeah,
really did. It was
it
like,
makes sense.
oh, I get it now. Like it was like this is gonna be like the Picasso. Like I'm getting in on the ground floor of the Picasso. Like
Yeah,
this is gonna be a real thing that is coveted and is exclusive, and it's gonna be in this virtual world, in the metaverse. Like there's gonna people gonna be wanting these people prints or whatever, and like no one's gonna have them. I'm gonna be the cool guy that has it, and people are gonna want it. They're gonna like I was like, okay,
some NFTs make sense with that. There's a lot that still don't. For example, short videos of Kobe dunking on somebody that's been,
Yeah,
I mean,
stuff
that you
that's
can get
already been
video
the stuff
from
that's
off
already out
YouTube
there
or
in the
where
public
anywhere
realm.
else.
I mean, there's nothing like
well, no, I'm
Like I
talking
just don't
about
understand why that would be
the
original
spray
different.
painting
stuff makes
guy.
sense, right?
But
Has
original
been shown.
artwork and that type
That
of
guy's going to
stuff,
be the Picasso of the
yeah,
Yeah,
like if that
metaverse.
guy,
I've done. There's a game, dude. There's a game where you literally like I think that he's probably used the same game or the same experience called Tilt Brush. You go in there, it's a world. You just 360 around. You're just creating art. Like you're just painting, and it's the most trippy thing because it's something you literally cannot do in the real world. Like you're painting like in thin air. It's freaking cool. There's another thing. There's another game where it's like color space, and it's like those paint by
Yeah,
numbers games. Paint by numbers coloring books. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Imagine you step into a world that you're walking around in, where everything is this blank white coloring book with these like like the
Right.
same kind of like like there's sections or whatever for thing, and you're picking your colors out of your color palette, and you're it was the most relaxing thing I've experienced in like a long time. They have like this really soothing, calming music, and you're just in there like a little kid, coloring, like coloring the world around you. Like you're slowly filling in the color of this 360-degree world. It's
and
so
and
relaxing.
while you're
It was
doing it, it's
so
uploading
relaxing.
everything that you've
It
painted to the back end so they can sell your work.
I'm telling you, man, I haven't tried. There's a bunch of stuff I haven't tried yet. Like there's like very popular like social experiences like VR chat and Rec Room, and I haven't done those because yeah, it's like a shared headset. So like I don't want
Yeah.
I don't want it on there and the kids get in there or whatever. So maybe I'll like play it and delete it or something just to see how it works. Then there's
I'm
the more adult
sure
stuff
you
that
haven't.
I
Mm-hmm.
haven't done either. But if
Mm-hmm.
people say it's
Sure.
pretty crazy. Um, then we're talking like there's just like there was this one thing where like you can choose. There's this thing called Wander where it drops you into like famous locations in the world. So like I want to see Machu Picchu,
I
and it just
seen that.
drops
Yeah,
you into
after
Machu
that.
Picchu, and you just like in Machu Picchu. Like that's so cool. You know what I mean? Like oh,
So I
I was
think
like
the virtual reality part is probably going to be the best experience that you're going to have in this metaverse. But I think that they're going to have that
everything else.
augmented reality. So if you're working at a physical location, you can't jump into VR at the moment, but maybe you have like an app on your phone where you have you still log into the metaverse. Your avatar is there, and you can still tell your avatar to go do stuff. Maybe
Yep.
maybe your avatar is like watering your metaverse plants or something, or maybe it's doing something else, and you can just have it doing that while you're actually working outside of the
Or
metaverse,
like
right? Like in your actual world.
remember in WoW. Well, maybe you didn't play this at there was in Warlords of Draenor. They had like this place where like they had like you could have like your
Yeah,
own
you
little
go
fort or
mine
your
your
own little like
ore,
hut,
and you got to go.
right?
Yeah,
And you could have workers that you had to yeah, you had like NPCs that you had to purchase, and you could like get different level of NPCs or different experiences to that are really maybe this one's really good at maintaining your virtual house. This one's really good at making virtual food or whatever. This one's
I
really good at,
I
mining crypto or whatever. Like I don't know.
Depending on how advanced the metaverse gets, I mean, maybe you'll have people that were lazy in the real world
I mean, true. If you
doing
make exercise,
physical stuff in the metaverse, like
I've
mowing your
done more.
lawn.
I've done more
Watch.
right? That's what I was
exercise.
getting ready to
I've done more
say.
exercise in the last 3 days than I've done in the whole last year. I'm so serious. I'm not even kidding.
If
Like
that's what the virtual
boxing,
reality part of
shooting.
it, but
Yeah.
what once they make it easy and they just put that neural link in you, though, I mean, you're not going to have to do all that physical stuff, and
But
that's where I'm going to get.
maybe that's
That's
where
where I'm
you
more
some people
concerned.
choose. But maybe that's where some people choose to blur like ride the line of staying on the VR side because they like they like that connection to the physical. Like there's gonna be people that want to do the neural thing and they just like I want to lay down and jack in and
I know
just and there's gonna be
that
some people that
assumes self
probably
control, though, and people don't. There's a lot of people out there that just don't have that kind of thing.
I mean, but it'll be like a different
Shoot, I'm
experience.
lazy. I don't want after
Some
work. I don't
days
want to go.
Some days you want mac and cheese. Some days you want pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like some days you maybe want to do physical. Some days you want to veg out, right? Like some days you want to watch TV. Sometimes you want to watch a game. Like there'll be those. I think that's how it'll be treated. Like some days you'll want to just be in there all the time, no movement. Sometimes you want to have a physical experience or partially physical experience. And there's gonna be folks that, of course, pivot, lean one way or the other. But you'll have the
It's
option.
it's definitely it's definitely here to
But it's
stay.
definitely
I
gonna be a
mean,
thing that's
and
gonna
like I
be
say,
here
I
to
can
stay.
see some
I am not.
unlimited great things about it, but I just worry about some of the stuff, man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I already worry about just the current state of people's interactions, especially social interactions. Without the physical danger that exists in the real world, you don't take the same kind of risks, or you
Yeah,
don't
it's a
do the
lot
same kind
easy
of
to.
things you would
Yeah, I
do.
was gonna say it's a lot easier to call someone an asshole online than it
Like
is in
you can
someone's
talk
face.
smack to somebody,
Yeah,
And if we talk about online bullying and how bad it is now, just
that's what
imagine
I
how it's going to
think.
be in that environment. It's going to be
Well, I think that's
way
why they're gonna
worse.
have these hubs, right? You're gonna have maybe the hub where
See, that's a
you have to
problem.
use your real credentials, right? Like they're gonna be like the It's gonna be
Right.
like the government hub, right? When you're gonna go to the Social Security office, whatever, you gotta have your avatar, could be whatever, but it has to be your, it's linked to your social. You have to have your ID, your fingerprints, all that jazz. That's how they're gonna go. But then you want to go and play the games. You go to the game world, and you don't have to do that. You're anonymous there. But maybe the Facebook social media verse is tied to your Facebook and your Instagram account, and maybe only certain people have access to you, right? Or certain people have visibility to you or whatever. Like there's going to be all these different hubs with different levels of access to who you are in the physical world.
How much do you think that social crediting is going to be a part of this metaverse?
I mean, I guess that depends on the government. I mean, China's already doing it for real. So I mean,
Well,
that
they
would
do it
be.
at the government level, but I'm saying within the metaverse itself.
I think there'll be a hub
Let's say
for that.
it's.
I think it's going to be a universe that makes that their gimmick. Like we encourage better behavior. You get ratings, blah blah blah.
So
Some
you
people
think
might like that.
as far as they're in, like if they're in uh, Meta's metaverse or whatever, if you're in their realm, then you have this social rating system here. You go into the Unreal
I'm
metaverse,
thinking
they
of
may
it
give you a different rating system,
like the
or there
internet.
might be zero rating
The
systems in the different.
think of it. I'm thinking of it as like literally like the internet where the website is just the universe of that company, right? And it will be like Apple's metaverse or whatever. They have these guidelines, these rules, these restrictions, etc. This outline, and then you have to play within those rules and that outline. Maybe I don't want to do that today. Maybe I want to go to the crazy, lawless reverse this time. And we go in there and there's all kinds of crazy, not okay stuff that wouldn't be okay in the other verse. Or maybe I go to the other one where like you have a social credit and people don't need to be nice. They have the ability to just go crazy and kill your avatar, but they get punished. And there's so people kind of try to live within the rules of the world they set up. Like I think it's going to be all those types of things. Like it's going to
Hmm.
be like servers that you log into an MMO, but websites that you log
Well,
into in the verse.
Hmm. Yeah, that could be. I mean, I have no idea I'm just throwing things out there, like what it's going to look like. It, it's.
I'm
I
telling
think
you,
there are going to be a lot of things that are implemented without thinking about those things because
oh yeah, I mean it's a long
that's
time
just
coming.
how.
It's probably going to be 20, 30, 50 years from now, whatever. I mean like it's slowly. We really are in the infancy of this whole thing, and there's so much infrastructure that has to get built out just virtually in there for that thing to come together. But all the writings on the wall, like it's it's like when people like back in like the 80s or whatever, like when no one had computers and then some people had computers and like no one had the internet and then some folks got the internet and slowly like the 90s more people and the 2000s more people and then slowly more and more people got computers. Same thing with smartphones. Like that's how it's going to be. It's like right now we are in the super duper early adopter stages. You get in there now, you can probably make your fortune, right? Because like you have all these early adopters creating universes and content and realms and followings and all this stuff, and then that's going to exponentially grow, and then the early adopters, so they're going to be there first. Like
yeah.
that's where we're at. That's the stage
We're
that
in
we're
the
at.
Prodigy, Netscape, AOL version
Yeah, yeah,
of the metaverse, and it'll eventually be like
and I
high
gotta say,
speed
man, it's,
Chrome
it's
running
pretty.
stuff.
The stuff that I've experienced, and I have to say experience because that's how it feels. Like it's not like I just played a game. It feels like I was in the game, so I call it experience. Like the
I'm
stuff that I've
thinking my
experienced
camera glitch is
with
pretty
it
awesome. It's kind
is
of making
pretty
me look like
awesome.
Max Headroom.
Pretty awesome.
Partially cultured.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right,
The,
so
the, the,
I don't know
the,
how long we've been going because it started over for me when I restarted my
partially.
camera. I'm hoping that I got um, the first part of this too, but we'll see. But how long have we been going? Do you guys know? About an hour, almost an hour, 50 minutes. So let's wrap it up. Thoughts, Alan?
50 minutes.
Metaverse, yay or nay? Pros, cons.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm in. I'm in the sense that I don't necessarily think that the extremes of the extreme negatives are good, but I think that it's an inevitability and that we're already heading that way, and there's a lot more positives
All
than
right.
negatives. Um, yeah, I'm digging it. I'm literally
All
on the verge of
right.
like buying another
Isaac?
headset so that me and Lynette can just be in it together and like play some games and stuff. So that's
And look, as much as I'd want to see some aspects of it, and I don't want to see other aspects of it. It doesn't matter because it's going to exist. It's going to be a thing, and I just want to find out how to invest in it, as soon as possible, so I can make some money on the way up. So that's why I'm looking at like AMD, Nvidia,
meta.
Meta,
Yeah,
bunch of other stocks and other companies that might be part of it, chip makers and stuff. So
accessory dudes. That's what I'm looking at. Like people that make like the haptic adapters and the vest and the gloves. And,
yeah, exactly. Just looking into that type of stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of social issues that are going to have to be answered. But I mean, it's
So,
going to be something we're going to
I
have to work
think
through, and it's an inevitability.
I'm
I
cautiously
understand, so.
optimistic and pessimistic. I think there are going to be some great uses for it, but I really feel like the devious stuff that's going to come along with it is going to outweigh the pros, but we'll see. I'm reserving judgment.
If you're worried about the government's control
No,
over
I mean,
you
not
now,
necessarily the
then I
government.
think that
Just
you're going to find that to be more so.
I just think
with
there's
this
probably
kind of
going to be
environment.
some things that happen that are probably not going to be great things. It is, but I mean, are we
I feel like that's
adding
already
to it? Are we making it more
that's already
pronounced?
happening.
And just going along with it because of the cool factor, right? I mean, this is the future. I mean, we got to invest and we got to buy it and we got to do this and that, and we're just going right down the road that we're supposed to go down. So
I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
it is. It's going to be our
the issues that we have now are just going to be
a virtual
brought
world.
in with us to that environment.
Yeah.
So, all right, Metaverse. Everybody listening, you don't know. Make up your own mind because, as usual, we don't know. Buy yourself some headsets and walk some planks. Tell us about your experiences. Go comment on the video and Twitter, etc. Anyway,
tell us about
that's
your
it. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And till next time, we'll see you.